What's up, guys? My name is Matt Brown here for PlayPicks.com, joined by Brett Colson. You have seen him on this very channel. You will see much more of him on this very channel as we move forward. We are coming to you live-ish. This is kind of live, like a live-ish from Jersey City, New Jersey, right out there behind us.
What is that right behind us?
That is a Statue of Liberty right over there. I know everyone can see it in the. It's in the picture. I promise. We are here for the DraftKings National Sports Betting Championship. Going to take a look at that. Be sure and stay right here on the channel. We'll have we'll be hitting you for a couple of live updates. We'll even be hitting you with just some overall coverage and everything like that. Of course, over on the lines as well. So, guys, we are here to talk a little bit about the Dallas Cowboys and the Los Angeles Rams. Of course, DKPicks.com, free $35. Be sure and take advantage of that at DraftKings. And of course, PlayPicks /bonus for all of the very best offers out there. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Let us know who you're playing in the comments below. 61 degrees, 3-mile-an-hour winds, sunny. It's LA if you're worried about the weather for this. I mean, it's LA. So let's not worry anything about. We had a little bit of weather concerns in the first game we talked about with the Chiefs, but not so much here.
Yeah, a little different
it's LA.
than the first game, yeah.
It's LA. So if you're worried about that, don't be worried about LA in this thing. Of course, the last time we saw this LA Rams team, of course, that was 2 weeks ago. They did get a bye, had to play for that bye. And, it was, I think this team misses Cooper Kupp a little bit more. I think we saw over the last end of the season. And, this has certainly not been easy sledding here over the last, month or so for this team.
No, it hasn't. They struggled to cover a lot of spreads late in the season. And I think the market has adjusted a little bit. But yeah, it's. I think the line here is pretty much where it needs to be.
And then we saw the Cowboys, of course, really towards the end of the season, kind of start to find their footing here. I mean, really since that Amari Cooper trade, and I know, listen, I'm guilty. I'm guilty. One of those guys that said, "What are they doing? Giving up a first rounder for Amari Cooper?" And really, with the addition of him on that team, really turned this team around.
Yeah, and I'm an Amari truther, and I thought that trade was a little far, but it's been a different team since they got him, and we've seen it.
So taking a look at the lines here, guys, over here on DraftKings Sportsbook, as we take a look, you can see we are at 7, a little bit juiced there at 112. We're at 49.5 on the total, 335 on the favorite, 260 on the dog if you're interested in that. Over on BetStars, we've got 7 over here, and we've got 105 on the, so little less juice there if you want the over in this thing. I guess there's been some under money coming in over there on BetStars, 49.5, and then if you want the dog here, plus 260, 333 on the favorite. And then over here on FanDuel, we're looking at 7.5. And Brett, one of the things we noticed when we were taking a look at this is even money on the 7.5 right there. So, the hook, little.
You got to pay for it.
You got to pay for it if you want it there with this Rams team. We got 310 on the favorite, 260 on the underdog, looking at a 49.5 point total here as well. So 49.5. Across the board here, but you do, if you want that, if you want the Cowboys, you're going to pay a little bit extra vig. But if you want the Cowboys with the hook, you can head over to FanDuel and get that done over there.
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of those things where we talk about now that this thing is becoming legal in several different other places. Certainly worth shopping around a little bit. We'll come back to some of these prop bets. I know there was one that touched your, kind of like tickled your fancy just a little bit there. But yeah, a little bit there. And so we'll certainly take a look at those as we get going a little bit more here as well. All right, so let's talk a little bit about these offenses. Let's talk a little bit about these offenses. Dallas, we're looking at a 24th in pace, and this is one of the things that we've talked about with this Dallas team forever, is a very deliberate team, a team that wants to establish the run, a team that wants to run the ball, and with that, you find them in the bottom third of the league as far as pace goes.
I like that for them here because you want to keep McVay's offense off the field, and if they can do that by moving the ball and taking some time off the clock with Zeke in this offense, I mean, that's going to be a huge factor for them.
Yeah. 22nd in points per game. Again, a team that holds the ball as much as they do and plays keep away. Not really one of those teams that gets into a lot of firefights. So, it makes a lot of sense. 22nd points per game. 20th in total yards. 27th in red zone touchdown percentage. And if you were watching the video when we were talking with the Chiefs and the Colts, one of the things I've been paying a lot more attention to, and if you guys, want to take this a little bit more seriously, I think that you can as well, especially if you're a total bettor and like to bet totals here. A red zone touchdown percentage coming down at 27th here, and this is a team that, I've got Cowboy fan friends who hate it, but they get into the red zone and they settle for field goals. This team.
They do. They don't have that guy. They don't have that Des Bryant who they could rely on in the passing game. Near the
no tight end. They used to have Witten as well to do that as well. Yeah, and it's
so
just
it's Zeke or bust, really.
Yeah, and this is certainly a team here. If you're looking at the over in this game, just know that you might be let down a couple of times by Dallas as they get down into that red zone and don't get it done. 10th in rush attempts, again, as you can expect with Zeke on there. 9th as far as rush percentage of their offense there. So, again, a very heavily run-oriented team here. 12th overall rush yards per attempt. Now, on the pass side of things, 21st in pass attempts, 22nd in pass yards, and 20th in pass yards per attempt. Now, that has gotten a little bit better over the latter half of the season, but it just lets you know just how poorly this team was through the air at the beginning of the season, that where it really didn't have a lot of chance. Again, these are season-long numbers that we're dealing with here, that it really didn't have a chance to correct itself all that much, even with him being there for the latter half of the season.
Yeah, I mean, the big plays that he connected, just a handful of big plays makes a huge difference. And, we've seen it in the second half of the season, but still, I mean, this is not a high-power passing offense.
As far as Pro Football Focus, we're going to look at this offensive line here. 9th, according to them, from a run-blocking perspective. 20th from a pass-blocking perspective. And that is something, too, that we've seen with this team, is you've seen Dak Prescott on the run a decent amount on these dropbacks and things. And when the couple of games where Amari Cooper did not have good games since he's come over, it was because Dak was running for his life.
Yeah, this is a different offensive line than we saw a couple of years ago. They've got injuries up front. They've had guys move on. I mean, it's a different offensive line for sure. On
the Rams side of the ball, is you're going to get a lot of numbers here that you would certainly expect. They are 3rd overall in pace. They are 2nd in points per game. They are 2nd in total yards. They are 4th in total offensive plays. One of the interesting things, though, I guess it is here, is 18th in red zone touchdown percentage. And we mentioned at the top of the show on Cooper Kupp here, and he was that guy that Jared Goff really, really looked to kind of move the ball along. And, of course, he scored touchdowns as well. But certainly when they got kind of in that red zone area, Cooper Kupp was a guy that you really saw him turn to. And when he was gone, this team did struggle to put up as many points as they had been.
Yeah, absolutely. You saw it as soon as he was out. They don't have a tight end really in the red zone that they can rely on. The big guy, Higbee and Everett, but those guys aren't guys you're going to be.
No, certainly not a guy that he likes to rely on anyway. He does not look their way very often.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, it has been a different offense, more than we expected since Kupp left.
7th in overall rush attempts. Again, this is a team that has been playing from out in front a lot, and a team that has Todd Gurley, so you would expect to see that a ton. 3rd in overall rush yards, 3rd in rush yards per attempt. So have been incredibly efficient with Todd Gurley, and really, one of the guys that has been able to take advantage of everything that offense brings to the table here, because with the firepower they have through the air, certainly allows him some holes on the ground as well.
Is he going to be fully back, though? That's the question. We don't really know. We haven't seen him at full strength in a while.
Yeah, and they do have capable backups there, but certainly nobody is Todd Gurley.
Yeah, C.J. Anderson was surprisingly good.
Yeah,
better than expected.
So, as far as the pass game here for this Rams team, 4th in pass attempts, 5th in overall pass yards. So you can see that this is a team that, despite the fact that they don't pass a ton, still just gets it done through the air. Very efficient when it comes to that. 3rd in yards per pass attempt. So you can see that even though they don't throw it a ton, when they do throw it, they are very efficient in doing so. 1st overall run blocking unit according to Pro Football Focus, and then 8th overall pass blocking unit. So having 2 top 10 units when it comes to that is very, very helpful for a guy like Jared Goff. And we've seen him, listen, he a little off the last few weeks or whatever, but we did see him take a pretty big leap this year as far as where he was. I suppose, yes. I think Goff is more a product of the system, and sure,
I think
sure.
But
well, like we said, when you have an offensive line that's doing what this offensive line is doing,
and I think a lot of that is scheming too. That's just McVay's brilliance. I don't think the offensive line is that good. I think it's just they're in the right place at the right time and doing what they need to do.
So going back to what we're talking about with pace here, so what you can expect here, Dallas wants to slow the game down. Of course, the Rams want to play fast, so probably a few fewer plays for the Rams, probably a few more plays for the Cowboys. Probably nothing to really glean from this other than I think it kind of balances each other out in this situation.
Yeah.
On the defensive side of the ball, now this is where there's going to be, again, I thought I was going to be watching a Dallas defense that was going to be pretty putrid this year, and I was incredibly wrong here. 9th overall DVOA, 11th overall according to Pro Football Focus, 7th in yards per game allowed. They've gotten 5th in rush yards per game. They are 5th in rush yards per attempt. I mean, this is a defense here that when this season started, I looked and I was like, where are the playmakers?
Yeah.
Where are these guys? Like, who are the guys that are actually going to step up and make this defense work? And then, of course, Van Der Esch has been unbelievable stepping in when Lee has not been able to be on the field. Then when you do have Lee who's able to play, it's like when he's on the field, he's good. Yeah. He just can never be on the field. And, that linebacker play obviously just has been huge. But, man, the secondary and even the run and even the front four have just been so good as well.
Yeah, on the edge they've been good on the edge for a while. But, this year they added Van Der Esch. Jalen Smith has been unbelievable this year. And then the Byron Jones has been an elite cornerback.
I mean, I think for a while there, according to Pro Football Focus, he was a top 5 rated and probably still is.
I think Evan Silva had him on his All-Pro team. Mm-hmm. He's been that good.
Yeah. So a little bit further down here, if you take a look at what they've been doing from pass coverage grade, 5th overall according to Pro Football Focus, 12th best pass rush, 12th in pass yards per game allowed, and then 17th in pass yards per attempt. If you're looking at how they look at in the individual positions, I mean, 9th against running backs, 10th against quarterbacks, 6th against wide receivers. So, and the only thing that they really have an Achilles heel in is against the tight end, and we just mentioned it's a position that the Rams don't really use all that often.
Right, yeah.
And which is kind of shocking here when we talk about how good these linebackers are. But, I mean, these linebackers are really just super, super aggressive, and I think that may be a little bit why we see just some skew there. But, I mean, these guys can cover. I mean, these guys are good.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch it. The matchup here, for me, is Gurley against these linebackers. Mm-hmm. That's going to be fun to watch.
On the Rams side of the ball here, kind of a middling defense, really. 19th overall DVOA. Pro Football Focus really, really likes them, actually. Has them 3rd overall. I didn't really see that, but I'm not going to argue with those guys. I mean, those guys are certainly smarter than I am when it comes to that, but I did not see the 3rd overall defense out of this Rams defense.
They make plays. I mean, that's Aaron Donald makes plays, and that sets up everything for this defense. They give up a lot of yards, but at the same time, they're aggressive, and they come at you.
19th overall yards per game allowed, 16th against the run, 23rd in rush yards per game allowed, and dead last, actually, in rush yards per attempt. Now, what's that little guy that you just said is pretty good for Dallas there? Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, that guy.
Dead last in rush yards per attempt allowed here for this Rams defense. So I mean, that is certainly the matchup, right? Can they step up and not be the worst team in the league as far as what a person's getting every time he touches the ball
against an offense that relies on chunk yardage on the ground? Yeah, that's gonna be big.
And as you mentioned, obviously super talented up there. 2nd best overall pass rush, 5th best pass coverage grade, and then their passing numbers overall: 14th, 21st, 15th, 12th against things like that. So I mean, they're just right in kind of the middle there. So not really good, not really bad, just kind of league average when it comes to those various things whenever we look at those. Now, let's make a case for the over in this game. We saw 49.5, and you're like, wow, this Rams team, 49.5. And I think that, when it comes down to it, the case for the over right off the bat would just be the fact that the Rams offense continues to be the Rams offense, and the Dallas offense is able to exploit the couple of weaknesses that this Rams offense does have. And we see this game actually where, a lot of people think this will be ball possession, keep away type situation, where this becomes more of a shootout type thing.
I'm a contrarian, and I think that's the way to go. If you're going to place a bet, I think, Dallas struggles getting to the passer, and the way you beat Jared Goff is by getting pressure on him and forcing him to make throws. If you don't, he's going to pick you apart. And I think the Rams are going to put points on the board.
Yeah, I mean, you look at on the Rams side of the ball, of course, you do have a kind of a splash play guy in Cooks as well. Certainly a guy that known as being a speedster when he came out. We talk all the time about one of the easier ways to get to an over as well is to be able to have a guy on your team that has that kind of breakaway speed. That's one of the weird things about some of these other teams in the playoffs. Like, you don't really have that guy. Well, Ted Ginn's back now, but you didn't have that guy for the Saints for the longest time, and you kind of saw that offense. You kind of saw that sputter a little bit. Like these teams that have these guys that even if they only catch a couple passes a game, they just command so much attention that it really just helps the whole scheme out. And I think that's what a guy like Cooks, who didn't really put up the numbers I think that most people thought he would this year. I think people thought he would just have this monster season. Yeah. But what he brings to the table, it just opens it up for the rest of the guys.
Absolutely. I'm interested to see what the Rams or what the Cowboys do as far as coverage, the coverage matchups with these wide receivers, because Woods is great too. You pick your poison. I mean, what are you how do you defend these guys?
A case for the under here, if you're an under bettor and you're looking at how you want to get under this 49.5 here, I think one of the cases, Brett, could just be the fact that we mentioned, really, this defense doesn't have a ton of glaring holes outside of the run defense, but, could they have taken the 2 weeks here thinking like, okay, well, maybe we play this Cowboys team and just going through various scenarios and figuring out, all right, look, if Zeke has a bad game, typically this Cowboys team has a bad game, we're going to shut him down no matter what. And if that's the case, then, I mean, even though the Rams might put points on the board, I don't know if Dallas brings their part to the table.
That's
here.
the power of McVay. I mean, you know he's going to have his team prepared. And certainly more prepared than Dallas is going to be in this game.
Yeah.
So, he's going to have them ready to whatever he needs them to do is where they're going to be in position to do it.
And I think a case for the under here could also be, you mentioned, Goff been terrible under pressure so far this year. And if the Cowboys are able to find a way to stay in his face all day long, I think that this Rams team could struggle. I think that there is a path to this Rams team struggling if Goff has to be relied on to make those throws under pressure constantly throughout the game.
Yeah, how often do they blitz Goff? Is it going to be really interesting in this game? Because they have the linebackers to do it, but then the Rams can beat you in other ways. So it's that's what I'm really looking forward to most is how the Cowboys come at Jared Goff.
All right, so let's take a look at how we are thinking about betting this game. Of course, the line is at 7.5 with a hook. You do get that hook over there at FanDuel if you're looking to do that. I'll start with you and then I'll give you my thoughts on how you let me know how you think this is going to play out here.
This is a tough one. I think this line is totally fair. I think I think 7's where it needs to be. I think this Cowboys team is really good and still undervalued by the market. So I kind of like the 7. And if you can get 7.5, do it. The juice is whatever, but I think it's worth buying the hook.
So this is a scenario for me where when this line in the playoffs, where the lines kind of get up into this type of number, I always try and look at the dogs and convince myself of a reason to play the dogs, because you just see in the playoffs that time and time again that teams you rarely see these blowouts, right? And especially on a team like Dallas and a team like the Cowboys, where their nature and their style doesn't really cater to a blowout happening anyway, right? Because like you said, they want to play ball control. They want to take control of that clock. I mean, if you look at how this offense played out, I mean, they were 7th in the league in time of possession this year. So, I mean, they love to ball hog and love to play that type of offense here. And I believe that Zeke will actually have a little bit of success here. And what does that do? Even if they grind out a couple of first downs here, kind of keep that clock running, kind of keep things going, I think they can keep it certainly within 7 points. And certainly 7 in the hook is very attractive. I know we saw that it was juiced a little bit, but still, like getting the hook over there also makes me feel pretty good about this game. I mean, I'm certainly not a guy that thinks that that Dak Prescott's a great quarterback or anything. And I certainly don't think, any kind of situation like that. I just think the sum of all the parts here with a very good defense on the Dallas side of things. The Rams are missing Cooper Kupp here. Really, if you look at Dallas's splits, which is kind of weird, they have really no home field advantage for whatever reason. They play just as well, away from home and things like that. And for me, I think I'm going to, when a number gets up to a touchdown here in the playoffs, I'm going to kind of shy towards this Dallas team. I think they make this an ugly game. I think they try to grind it out. I think they try to slow things down. I think they try to keep the Rams off the field as much as humanly possible. Yeah. And weirdly enough, I don't really have a strong conviction really on the total here, but
me either.
I would probably lean to the under.
Yeah,
I would lean that way. And of course, if you wanted to tease it, by all means. Of course, if you want to tease this thing, by all means. I mean, listen, give me the Cowboys at 13 and this under at 57 or whatever, 56, and I'm feeling pretty good about that. So, all right, guys. Again, hit that subscribe button down below. You guys got us over 1,000. You can help us get to 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 10,000 for 175,000. So you can help us get to all that. Really appreciate it. Hit the thumbs up on that thing. Let us know in the comments down below how you're playing this game. What side you like a total, or if you're going to take a pass. I mean, listen, they have to post every game. We don't have to bet every game. That's right. I mean, there's at least there is that if you don't like this thing one way or another. DKPicks.com, free $35 over at DraftKings and PlayPicks /bonus for all of our DraftKings, all of our sportsbook, all of our DFS, all the very best bonuses on the internet. Good luck, guys.